Right, Greggy, again as promised, we're going to weather these paint these tracks. So we have, like I say, I think you've seen that from last time, so that's the sort of end result with the painting side of it. So there's no weathering there at all yet. So on the other side, that needs darkened down, like I said, the rubber wants more rubber than steel, so we'll put that to the side at the moment. So what we've got here first is I painted it the Vallejo German Grey Primer on this to start with, and then I sprayed a couple of coats of Vallejo dipping wash, which is sepia. I think it's about 11 quid, something like that, for a large tub. It lasts quite a while. I've had a long time. I put the black one as well, which I may try at some point on something else. So right, we're going to start off. We're going to start off doing the tracks. So what I've got is I've got this set. Many people have got this. Mr. Nightshade uses it and other people as well. It is a very good set. I say I do like live colour paints. It's a dust and rust set. And there's 4 colours in there. We have a rust dark shadow. We have a rust, okay, that's a base colour. We have rust light shade 2 and a rust light shade 1. So what I'm going to start with first is I'm going to start with the lightest colour first. I'm going to use these little business milk bottle tops that obviously come from milk bottles, so I collect them all instead of throwing them in a bin, and then I use them for things like this, little mixing things, and I don't need a lot of paint. So give these a good shake, these light colour paints. They're full of pigments, really rich in pigment, brilliant colours. So all we really need to do to start with is take the lid off for a start. And we'll take a bit of brush, an old brush. We'll add 1, 2, 3 drops of that. 3 drops. I'll just shut this door because I have my daughter in and she's one move one thing, everything falls apart. Never mind. One of those things. Right, so yeah, so I've got this just that's about off onto there, if we can. Just pop that into there. We're just going to add some, water, corporation stock, whatever you want to call it. You want quite a light wash, you don't want it heavy. We shall give that a mix and we'll see what we've got. I'll probably use too much paint actually, but give it a good paint. Yeah, that's fine for me. So basically going to do is we're going to start just getting it on the tracks any old way you want. Get it stuck on. Just get it in there. Looks a bit garish to start with, but once it dries you will see the difference. Don't be afraid to put plenty on. Oh, I forgot to say when I did the tracks that I added the ice cleats, didn't I? Yeah, forgot to say that on the last update on the Panther video. But I added the ice cleats. Fairly straightforward, nice and easy to clean up. Didn't take too long to add. Let me just zoom in a touch probably, if I can. Oh, a bit too much in the camera's on a wobble today. Yeah, just carry on doing this. So they are nice tracks, I must admit. I was quite impressed with the way they went together. And as I say, even though they are plastic tracks, but they do have metal pins, they are quite robust. Same again, make sure you get it all in between the we'll go back to that in a minute when we get the actual most of it onto the tracks. Stipple it, brush it, whichever way you find easiest. Doesn't really matter as long as it gets onto the tracks. Random Some parts are lighter, some parts are, you know, all different shades. It's basically what you want. Like I say, don't be frightened to put plenty on. It's only a wash and it will evaporate with the water content and leave you with the basically the pigment really and paint. I have to say I'm enjoying my modelling at the moment. Well, I always enjoy it, but I just seem to have a bit of a spring in my step with modelling at the moment. Lots of daft ideas going through my head of what I'd like to try and do next, if possible, if my skill set will let me. But there's only one way to find out, isn't it? And that's try and do it. Like I say, with the Zimmer, it's my first attempt at my own Zimmer. It's not brilliant. It certainly can be definitely improved on, but I'm happy enough with it. I know what I've gone wrong in certain places. I know how to rectify that now. So right. So what I'll have to do now is to say I'll just go away and dry these on air dryer. Don't listen to the air dryer, and then we'll come back. Good afternoon, James. Greg here again. I've started recording, well, I thought I was recording the first piece of doing the tracks, so it didn't record for some strange reason. So what I've done to start with is we're using the rust set from this Rust and Dust, which is another live colour paint set, which I really do enjoy using. It's got some lovely sets as well, you know, really all sorts of bits and pieces. So what I've made is I've made a wash using, to start with, the light, is the light one? Yeah, the light shade, the light shadow 2. So I made a heavy wash and I just stippled it all over the tracking. Let me just zoom in again. Stippled it all over the track. Obviously the base is, you know, the base is the German grey with the dipping wash on top of that, so that was let to dry, and then we'll do this and on the other side as well. So I'm going to leave that to dry. What I'm going to do before it's completely dry is I'm just going to make a little touch more up. There's my brush, I need a little bit. That's more than enough. I'm going to use this brush to mix it up actually. Okay, pop it away out of the way, put the lid on these, too valuable to knock over and lose. So what I've got here is just a stipple brush now. It's one of my old brushes. It's quite firm, you know, and a trusty old airbrush needle. So then I'm just going to basically just go along the top of it now and just put some splatters on there as well for good measure. They'll be random. I said they don't really want to show up that much on them at the moment, but once it's dry and the water's evaporated, you'll see more. You'll see the sort of how it looks. So you can, you know, you can skip steps if you want, depending on how the environment your tank's in and how is it a tank that's been destroyed, or is it a working tank that's actually, or factory fresh as they say. That's a bit too much on that, but never mind. Need that bar off. Yes, we can just flick them over now. It's a matter about the being wet on that side, and we'll just do the same again. Random splatters, you don't have to be neat, precise. Maybe building things up in layers, which I've been, you know, by watching other people's videos and, you know, all these professional video modelers, and obviously a lot of hobbyists as well within our group. All have different techniques, and we all sort of get to one that we like to use. and we run with it to a certain degree, and we can adapt our own parts to it as well. You know, this is very simple to what most people do, but see, with me, I use the dipping wash as well, which is slightly different, not a great deal different, but I find it's a nicer tone towards the end when it's all finished. So we'll leave that now to dry before we apply the next layer, so we'll be back shortly when that is it's dry. So we'll see you in a bit. Right, we're back again. As you can see, it's dried now. You got to see what I mean about the amount you've put on it. It dissipates, just leaves the almost the pigment left. The water's gone, just leaves you the pigment. I've got that on both sides. So next we're going to do the similar thing, well, exactly the same, slight variation. We're going now to use the Light Shadow 1, which is a slightly darker colour, which is another life colour pigment, life colour paint, UA703. So give them a good shake, because these paints are really thick and high pigment content. They've had a good shake off camera, so should be enough what I need there. So then again, is you take the amount out that you need, probably that's enough. And water, you know, you want a heavy wash, well, not a heavy wash, just a wash, between a wash and a filter basically, I think, really. A little bit more water. I'll give that a mix through. Yeah, that's fine. So we'll just zoom in again, and we'll get the brush, and away we go. Same as last time. Get it slapped on. Dab it. I usually find it easier to stipple it in. Sorry, my hands are in the way there. Randomly done, you don't have to be all perfect. And then I say again, make sure you go in between each, when you've done this, make sure you've gone between each tread and each cover, and where the tracks move. And then again, keep it freely moving by touching the, by not letting it dry thoroughly too fast so the track sticks together, which is what you don't want. Just going to pick all these big bits out. And again, just do the same in the rear. I'm sorry, in the rear, in the back of the tracks. Doesn't have to be neat, like I say. You can just slap it on. Okay, right. Let's wash that brush, and while this is wet still, you can just move that out of the way. Cover that track up. The track. This time I'm not going to use the diluted one. I'm going to use it straight from the tin. Sorry, from the pot, and I'm going to stipple it. Splatter it. So I'll get my old needle out. Stippling brush, and she says it's the same one as before, not too soft, not too hard. This has been shaken again, so let's see. So we don't want to mass it, you can just take it from the lid. That's what I tend to do, is I take it from the lid and then I test it, get some of the big globules out. like that, and just go along. So we haven't got to forget the rear. Sorry, I keep saying the rear. The inside of the tracks. So I'll just pop those over. And it's great with being water based. If there's any marks you don't like, you can just get water on your brush and move it. I've got one there. I've got a big splodge there I don't like, but that'll be easy enough to come off. Hopefully these shouldn't take too long to dry today. It's a bit warmer in the UK today. Although it's raining and miserable, it's quite warm. So with a bit of luck, this should be dry in about an hour. So then I can come back and go from the next part. There's a couple of blobs I'm not happy with, so we'll take those out. Right, let's wash that brush. And the needle. Pop that away for now. Don't stab myself with it, which I've done on a few occasions, unfortunately. Put the lid back on that. Right, so we've done that one. So let's get my brush just to clean them big blobs off that I don't like. Although you probably won't see them once the track is on. Right, so we'll leave that now to dry. Off there. Right, so that's that part done now, so you can see what we've got now. It's starting to build up. Gradually build the colours we want. So we'll leave that to dry now, and when it's dry I'll come back and we'll start the next bit. Right, we're back, it's dried now, so let's have a gander at what we've got now. You can see some nice variations in colour, which is what we want. And again on the reverse. So we're going to start now, just do a similar sort of thing with the rust base, which is UA702. So it's part of that dust and rust set, so I'd highly recommend it, I really do. So I'll put that next one, I need that shortly. So we've already made the mix up, same as last time, just a wash. And again, zoom in. I'll start off from here, you can see where we are. Stipple it in. Obviously with acrylics you don't have to worry about, well, that's about these ones because these have got metal pins, but a lot of our plastic tracks which do have plastic pins, it's best to do tracks in acrylic, because I think if you enamel and the enamel thinner would just basically eat the tracks alive. So 9 times out of 10 I have used acrylics, just because I use a lot of plastic tracks. Obviously when you've got metal tracks like Frule or whatever, or Master Club or any other brand, you can use plenty of enamel stuff. You can use enamel stuff on these, You say because I've got metal pins, but I'd rather not take that risk of ruining a perfectly nice set of tracks. Right, nearly there. On this side anyhow. See, we'll probably go back and forward as well with colour save and dry, and if I'm nappy you can always go back to the first colour, the second colour, whichever you think you might need to add extra to. Right, and again we'll turn them over. Like I say, as it's drying, just keep moving the tracks about just to stop them sticking together, and you get that free movement of the tracks. You can be careful when you're doing it, of course, but yeah, pop that brush in there, and we'll do the same again. We shall get the paint back itself. Let's turn this over. I'll do that bit there. Let's just stipple that in a bit. Yeah, that's better. And we'll just do the same again, but won't use the watered down version. We'll just use it straight from the tin or bottle or whatever you want to call it. Get my needle out. I'm just going to do some speckling again. Plenty paint in the lid that I need, so it's not a problem. Again, just test it on a piece of, and get most of that big flecks off. That's how you can't see, can you? And then we'll not good. Not good at all. So that's what happens when you don't take your own advice. But luckily it's mendable, fixable. So you can see what I was doing, and then we'll just flip it over and carry on. I'll take that piece off after before it dries. And once again just leave this to dry. Once it's done, Right, let's get that piece off that I don't like. There we go, and that piece there, I'm overly fond on. So we'll turn that over and we'll just leave that to dry as well. As you can see now, the colours are starting to, you know, blend together nicely. So we'll leave that to dry and we'll come back once it's dry and we shall carry on. So see you in a bit. Right, that's that dry now as well, so I'll have a quick gander before we go any further with it. I've got that sort of colour now, it's starting to get there. And on the reverse, again we're getting that subtle hue. So what we're going to do now is carry on with the fourth one, which is another Lavishly Life colour again, and it's the Rust Dark Shadow, which is number UA701. So it comes in that rust and dust set. So I've just done the same thing again. I've made a wash with it, and we're just going to carry on doing the same thing. We're just dabbing it all in. Make sure you get in between all the tracks again, like I said before, so you're not having bare spots. So I find it easy to stipple as well as brush it in and then stipple. Just get in between them little bits. Well, obviously depending on what tracks you've got, of course, as they're all different. Put my hand in the way there, isn't it? So. There, look at that. Just about. Basically, when you make it, it's a consistency for a heavy wash, really. Not too heavy, obviously, but enough that you're going to get a colour, a subtle colour change in whatever you're doing. And so you don't have to do it with all, you know, with the way I'm going. You could do it the light coat last, or you know, mix it up, which I'm probably going to do. I think I did on the other one. When it comes towards the end bit, I just sprinkled a bit of splattered a few of the bits and pieces over the top before I sealed it with all the with that dipping wash to get that brown colour. It sort of seals it in, that wash, that you know, dipping wash seems to seal everything in nicely. So I'll just turn it over now, do the same again. And like I say, remember to keep moving your tracks, joints, so they don't seize up, but just obviously gently. I did break one of the links, my fault, I was a bit too vicious, but I've sorted it, put another pin in, so I think it's the plastic part that's broken, so I'll just have to be a little bit more careful on this side with these track links, but that's my own fault, nobody else. Is not the track, not the kit or anything like that. That was just down to me. Right, so let's move that out the way for now. And the same again, we'll get the actual colour again itself, and we shall turn it over to start with. Shall the hair on there? I want a pair of tweezers, you can never find them. I've just seen a hair, I'm sure I did. Yeah. Probably one of Bella's. Right, so again we just use the same colour. We're going to do speckling again. I'll use my trusted needle and the same brush as we've been using all along. And just take it from the lid, it's much easier. take some bits off and we can start doing speckles. So you don't have to speckle it all, because there are different coloured tones in this in the rusts. There on this side. It's hard to tell now what I've done and what I haven't done because of the state of the polystyrene. It does come in handy. It's a nice just to keep your tracks from getting your workbench totally totally ruined. Again, I can see better on this side of it's speckling. Right, I think that's about it really on that. Wipe your needle, put it away for now. Yeah, so we've got that. So that's the darkest shade at the moment. So we shall leave that now to dry again, once again, and when it's dry, we shall come back to it and see what the result is. So back in a bit. Right, that's all dry now. So let's have a quick gander at what we've got now. Now it's all dried. As you can see, it's got a nice array of colours. Two bits looking the same, which is ideal. So next thing I'm going to do is the colours that we've used. I'm only going to use 3 of the colours that I've used. Is I'm going to do some more speckling. Just a quick speckle over the top, starting with the lighter colour first. So I need the needle. Oops, we'll put it on the floor straight away. Luckily it's in its tube. Oh, a minute. Let's just zoom in. There we go. Let me see where I'm going to start. Right, the yellow one to start with. Let's just check what we've got. There we go. So again, we just random. And just random all over the place. And we'll stick, we don't forget the other side. Some paint on the brush should help, wouldn't it? Just about to run out of paint on there, so it's good. Like I say, if you're lucky, and sort of with these bottle caps, I usually put them inside my wet palette, and this leaves a bit of moisture still into the washes. So all I do is just add a little bit more, because obviously we've got dehydration of the water would leave the pigment, so I'm looking at you can reactivate it. Right, that's just next colour. So we had the light colour to start with as we use, and then we got the middle colour, this one. RAF again. Whee! Used to all that. We're used to all that. That happens. That's a regular occurrence over the Lake District. See some fascinating things coming across, like you see when you see the big Hercules and the ospreys. Fascinating, absolutely brilliant to look at, especially when they're coming down right through the lake valley and right across the tops. Absolutely fantastic. It really is. Just can't have enough again. Some very blobby there, it's not very good, Mr. Riley, so we'll soon get rid of those though. Right, just get rid of those. Right, and then we move on to the last colour, the darkest shade, what we just used on the last part of the actual painting of the the tracks. I'll just turn this back over. And again we'll just, oh, you can't see my hands are in the bloody way, aren't they? I want to see bugger all. You know what speckling is anyhow. Just tip that over. Right, pop that brush in the water, just clean the needle. That's the last we'll be using now at the moment. Okay. Right, so what we've got now is a blob there I'm happy with. And there. Quite a few. Right, so now we've got, I don't want to pick it up again, I've got the colour, now we've got this sort of colour going on now. So I'm going to leave that to dry with all the speckling, and then we're going to finish it off with the a light coat of the sepia wash, and that should be the tracks painted by then. So once this is dry, I'll back and we'll paint the we'll spray them with the sepia dipping wash. So back in a bit. Right, it's all dry again, so I'll just lift it up and I'll show you where we are. Both of these are this way, isn't it really? So all that different variations in the colours again, not overpowering. So the last thing I'm going to do is use the Vallejo dipping wash. So open the lid eventually. You can brush it on. I find it easy just to spray it, obviously straight from the bottle, and there we go. So get around the sides as well, which I often forget. Right, so that's all we need to do. So what I'll be tempted to do now is just leave that to dry, and we'll see what the colour comes out like. If I decide to make another coat, which I think I did on that one, I can't remember to be honest, but I'm almost certain I did another coat on there. So it doesn't take too long to dry. So what I'll do is I'll do another coat, and then we'll come back and we'll see the end result. So back in a bit. Right, it's all dry now, so we can see what colours we've got now. Is the dipping wash just sort of knocks it back slightly. So these are just painted, they're not weathered, so I'll be weathering them in another stage. So this is the end of the video of how I paint my tracks. Not all the time like this, obviously it'd be daft if I painted my tracks every single vehicle the same. That's just a variation in it, you know. So we'll bring the other track in. That is over here. So now we've got a good base to work from on these tracks. It's like variations in colour, but that's fine by me. I'm okay with that. I'm certainly alright with that. So that's my uptake on painting a rusty track. You can variate it, you can make it rustier. If you're an abandoned vehicle, you don't have to put the dipping wash on. You can put more layers of rust. You can go back and do light colours, dark colours on top, and then blend, wet blend them and all that kind of stuff. You see, it's never ending. You can do all sorts, but this is how I want for the base for me, for the weathering for my Panther. So I've learned things about it since I've done it as well. I've sort of had a few other ideas in the meantime what I can do to improve this technique or to add to it. And it'll come at a later stage on my next build or something like that. So thank you very much for viewing, and take care and stay safe, and thank you to all my subscribers, old and new, for sticking with me. So it's Greg signing off, and we'll catch you very soon.